Ladies and gentlemen, it's Adrian Zdunchik, CMT, Charter Market Technician, CryptoBurp, as some people know me, and I'm honored and joined today by my friend, by Amir, who I was really happy to admire back in the day, on the stage with his incredible project for Buffer Finance. And welcome to today's AMA session. It's going to be quite an interesting topic. We're going to talk about Buffer. We're going to talk about the latest insights about the liquid restaking protocol and so much more. Starting off, how are you doing today, Amir? Welcome.
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for inviting me on to the Burp Nest.
Thank you so much for accepting the invite. And in the first place, first and foremost, some of our community members are yet to find out, about the incredible project of Buffer that we're blessed to be partners of. And what can you tell us about your background and how the idea for Buffer initially was created?
Of course. Well, I myself used to be a research engineer at NASA Jet Propulsion Labs with the focus on data science and AI. That was my initial point of entry, but myself, I was always curious to bring the best solutions to everyone around the world, just improve their lives. That's why I followed to work at NASA in the first place. I was curious, and my entry point really to the space was AI. Of course, it was back in 2021. But soon, early on, I've realized that there are many more like basic needs to first be met in this space before we enter into a more complex uh, task later. One of the early on tasks was to actually provide equal and fair access to yield opportunities on top of Ethereum POS chain. Um, that being said, like as I was working on providing a permissionless access to that, the concept of restaking merged. If you can think about it, like why restaking is very valuable is because it gives more value to the ETH that you hold. It can now be used as collateral, as insurance to secure infrastructure beyond just Ethereum itself. The problem with it at the time was everybody was worried that only few entities are going to have access to this yield. We took up the challenge of making it accessible for everybody. So you can run a node at home with not 32 ETH, but only 2 ETH using Puffer and take advantage of being exposed to restaking rewards and essentially get into the league of big players to be able to take advantage of this yield opportunity. This, of course, comes with the secondary effect of increasing the entire network security as well and decentralization.
I love it. I love it so much for a couple of reasons, right? Although, having, for instance, the liquid restaking protocol, right? The LRT for the short abbreviation for everybody's notice. What sort of latest progress, since that's been a vocal topic lately, and hot? What sort of like latest progress and upgrades have you made so far, aligning with what you made on the recent point?
Of course, yeah, there are really two main upgrades that we made. One is many folks might have been frustrated that they wanted to see that real yield, that real extra yield to start compounding on their restaking. So we took up on the task of creating one of the first use cases for this restaking and insurance product, which is called the pre-confirmations. I would avoid getting into details of technicalities. I would rather explain to you like how this pre-confirmation network works. The idea behind it is an Ethereum validator, a node operator, has powers beyond just like proposing blocks. It can propose blocks, it can propose your transactions with certain promises as well. It can include your transactions. It can promise you to include your transactions faster your transactions can go through. That's called a pre-confirmed transaction. That's one of the services that we have launched on a restaking protocol to be able to showcase to our users and also provide them with this extra service and extra yield as well. Now, beyond that, like I always say, like almost above 80% of the things we do at Puffer have been done for the first time. We introduced a permissionless LRT, but we also found out that an LRT like today is beyond like just being able to go in and stake. It really is an entire DeFi platform. We created an innovative sort of incentives campaign so we can involve our Puffer governance token holders to really decide where the incentive should be pointed to. This is just the beginning of like involving community in deciding how things should go. I'm happy to unwrap like how this new incentive campaign works, but long story short, like we have evolved our protocol beyond to what it started from because we do see the needs for the users to be exposed to more opportunities. And lastly, we um, are working on a base rollup focusing on fixing the user experience and fragmentation that every blockchain today faces.
Right on, and you've rightly so mentioned, the based rollup, right?
Mhm.
So staying on this context, like what has actually led and pushed you to develop that alongside, the Path for Unify, if you don't mind explaining.
Of course. So I will start by creating some background. Why did we all want to actually go to rollups? The reason for them was, of course, the transaction fees on the L1 was starting to ramp up. As if you remember, especially during DeFi summer, during the NFT wars, during all these things, as soon as like the traffic goes up on the L1 chain, it gets more expensive. And at the same time, it's a slow. Like for a lot of applications that traders like high frequency trading, DeFi that people are interested, perp trading, it is a slow. So we decided to move to another execution environment that is faster than the Ethereum itself. That was where rollups started. However, like over time, it made it more complex for users because there were many rollups that came to be, and it was harder to pick between one. It was harder to go to the rollup. It was harder to come back. You had to pick rollup. You had to make sure it had connections with like even centralized exchanges, other places that you wanted to use. It became very challenging. The example that I gave is we have started marketing infrastructure to users. Like today, like major Web2 financial providers, I'm going to give examples. Uh, E-Trade, Venmo, Stripe, Robinhood, none of them almost advertise that they are running on an Amazon AWS web servers or Google Cloud GCPs or anything else. We steered through a direction that we started selling those instead of our interesting applications. Why? Because like there were not really much differentiator between them. And it was mostly sell of infrastructure plus the community. What the base rollups aim to do is create an infrastructure that interconnects with each other so well enough that users go back to only care about applications. So we enable what the application developers need, cheap and fast transactions. We enable them to all they have to tell their users is like, I have an application on Ethereum. It is cheap and fast. Come use it. And you can use other applications also that are around on Ethereum. Effectively making a both better developer experience so the devs don't have to use the winner chain and at the same time create a better UX for our users so users don't have to click the bridge back, bridge forward button anymore or choose between a rollup. Rather, they will just go to their favorite application that brings them yield, opportunities, airdrops, farming, or anything else.
Got it. And you kind of like have in Puffer, you would have this so-called seasons, right? And you've lately launched the season two. And if you don't mind explaining, because this marks, this is also marked by the launch, which is what I'm displaying right now on the screen, the launch of the carrot rewards, right? And this is what exactly marks again the start of the season. So how would you kind of like describe what the actual season split looks like,
Mhm.
and also what does the card token
Yeah.
rewards have to do with it?
Yeah, continuing our commitment with the UX, there is yet another broken UX in crypto right now. We wanted, well, of course, thanks to the regulatory environment that we were in, but also for other reasons of excitement, we wanted to introduce the point systems. We wanted to replicate the point systems so that people get on their credit cards, they get on their, I don't know, hotel rewards, resort rewards, like, and all the other like aspects that they're getting. Unfortunately, it failed to exactly replicate that for some reasons. You get your airline rewards, you can immediately use them. Buy your next flight with it. You get your credit card score points, you can use them immediately, buy something else with it. But the points that you are now farming for seasons, the rewards that you're getting, it's locked till the end of time. Or basically, you have to wait for them till the end of the season. You also are on the way that you're getting to the end of the season, you're getting actively diluted. Like out of nowhere, a whale jumps in, dilutes your points, and voila! Now the rewards that you get are a tenth of what you should have gotten before. We wanted to make this all go away. That's why we introduced the point token carrot. It has a limited market cap. We say, hey, we're not going to dilute points. This is as much points as we give. So, regardless of the point of entry to the campaign, you're not going to dilute other people. At the same time, these carrots, you can buy other things with it. It's just a reward. It's redeemable for Puffer at the end of the season. But what makes carrots so lucrative and a much better user experience is because you can sell them at any time. You can keep them. You can further farm them to get more Puffer tokens, and you can do whatever you as you please with it. Another magic that this brings is the power of community and governance. You now have to convince the puffer holder community so you get the carrots that you want from your certain campaigns. So if you, for example, like see here, we have it at carrot APR on just simply staking ETH at Puffer. But also if you click the DeFi page, yeah, and you click the APR, so you get it the yes. One more, yeah. So you get a breakdown of actually one more, yeah. So the Puffer community actually voted where the carrots should be pointed to, and really like this is your one-stop shop app.puffer.fi for you to see your rewards. You go to your portfolio page, and and if you have a wallet to connect, that'd be great. If not, it's okay. Your portfolio page is all that you need to redeem your carrots, to see your active positions within the DeFi protocols that we showed, and be able to actually take advantage of everything all in one place. If you are very interested to vote on the destiny of each of these integrations, you can just directly go to vote.puffer.fi. That's
Hmm.
where you can decide gauges, you can decide where to vote. Another offering that you are showing right now are vaults. Let's say you have some puff ETH and you're like, hey, like it's too complex for me to find out where is the highest yield on puff ETH. DeFi is too complex for me. We do have strategy managers on these vaults that take your puff ETH and put them in a place with the highest organic yield plus the carried yield. That's where you see, like, for example, puff ETH typically has around 4% APR, but our strategy managers are able to get you 6.7% APR on your yield. So you do have a suite of options on yield and incentives on top of Puffer.
Got it. And of course, I highly encourage everybody to go ahead and check all the options at Puffer at app.puffer.fi. And not only check and review all the stake and vaults and DeFi and portfolio, which is exactly what Amr has generously walked us through. And that's exactly what I'm going to do, connect to all the wallets. And is first of all, we have to remember the passwords to the wallets, and I never keep them in my mind, so I have to go and fetch them somehow. Although, long story short, there is such a such a good, an idea to keep the community rewarded, of course, and without the proper dilution of those rewards. And Carrot actually, having kicked off this season 2, I think, it is an awesome incentive for people to be able to take use out of the buffer ecosystem entirely. And if we were to move on to the next point, that takes me to Unify AVS. All right, and of course, there is an over $9 billion in Restake. And if you were to elaborate a little bit more about the current focus, the goals, and what people can do with a Unify AVS, please.
Of course, that's the pre-confirmation AVS that I was talking about initially. Um, Now I will start to unwrap it even further, because it's useful for users to know. Maybe day-to-day users wouldn't even feel it, and how it works for them. But the idea for this is bringing sub 100 millisecond transactions. This is going to give massive throughput, much better user experience on many applications that you will see on top of rollups today. So some of the advantages, for example, perpdex requires like some of the high frequency trading applications, actually infrastructure. If you look at products like GMX, Hyperliquid, all these guys require speed. That's why they chose to have their own rollup. What if I told you we have a way to even make it faster without being confined even by the basic rollup architecture? Because you're going to get the promise of your transaction inclusion way ahead of time. That's called pre-confirmations. And why is it guaranteed? Because it has insurance behind it. It has Restake asset behind it. So we can all make sure that your transactions are going to be included in the next block. An advantage of Unify AVS above other pre-confirmation architectures, like this is a thing called execution preconfs. You want to buy ETH off of a DEX, let's say Uniswap. ETH is at $2,000, and you want to request to get that ETH at $2,000 because that's the price you care about. The pre-confirmation service gives you a guarantee of getting that ETH at $2,000, while the other architectures might not get you at that. So this is going to heavily improve the user experience on top of these app chains and the rollups that we're launching in the future. This is a continuation of improvements on the base rollups. This is our dedication to actually making user experience better on base rollups, bring fast transactions. Why is it good for Puffer? It has revenue. Essentially, like, because it's pre-confirming every transaction, it gets a fee for those basically pre-confirmation tips, and we're going to distribute that back to the AVS restakers and also the rest of the Puffer community as well, empowering Puffer further by providing the suite of infrastructure that supports the DeFi journey.
Amir, and I think it's such an obvious reference versus against what you mentioned in the very beginning. So I appreciate you reiterating that again for our community, for the viewers and listeners who are yet finding out about the entire Puffer finance ecosystem and the card again and the VS. And there are so many different functionalities that I encourage everybody to go ahead and check out. And doubling down on the future goals and the future focuses, right? You mentioned you've briefly tapped upon the AVS as well on the Unify side. However, what about the else? What are the other parts, that the entire Puffer ecosystem, like the LRTs and the base rollups and season 2? Like, where is it going, and when is season 3? Let's say.
Absolutely. So we are building like a future for community to be incentivized to make decisions on Puffer. There is going to be an upgrade on governance coming out very soon. There's going to be an upgrade coming out on more offerings on the rollup side. Actually, as of 2 days ago on our DevNet, we have hit the first like atomic withdrawal and atomic transaction on our rollup architecture. This means we created a platform that the money can go to the rollup and come back in under 12 seconds on the same block. This creates a developer experience that developers can create things for you and me as users of crypto that we don't have to worry about chain addresses. That's another update that came about. The AVS itself is set to launch by the end of this month. We're actually talking to some of our first customers to providing them pre-confirmations very soon, scaling the Ethereum itself, and actually getting to the promises that we gave early on. So we are actually, if you, I want you to give you the perspective of why Puffer is so product focused. We have delivered almost 3 products since the December of this month, and the all these products are essentially the AVS, a rollup, an entire DeFi protocol with its new basically incentive platform that has not never been done before. So our motto is like continuously ship. We're continuously shipping. We're continuously improving our users' experience, and we're continuously improving the yield that is generated on top of Puffer.
Love it, and that's a crisp, I think, closure to one of the points that I actually wanted to ask, because from a community perspective, from a simple user perspective, right? I understand the speed. I understand, uh, the um, the whole utility concept, on how it actually scale, and speed up, the network. I understand that it's a new paradigm if you think about it, right? It's something completely else, something completely different, something what actually can, be this nice plug and play kind of like a situation for maybe reviving Ethereum, if you will, right? So something that Vitalik probably and crew should appreciate. So the way I see it, after your such a good elaboration, is that we're holding pretty much a gem in our hands, right? And all we have to do, as the builders, as the founders, is to again incentivize the community as much as we can, simplify the products as much as we can for them, right? And at the same time, make it an integral part, just like you rightly referred, even without them noticing that, right? That's the entire beauty of crypto, when we use it and we don't even know we're using crypto. So taking all those, again, all those incredible features that you've mentioned and that we've reviewed, and before we wrap the show, is there any particular thing that you are personally, Amir, looking forward in 2025? Let's say before the end of the year, is it going to be the Q4, more like Q3? What's your stance on that?
Of course, like there is going to be a rise in more of institutional adoption. The way that I refer to institutions is probably like the asset managers, like the institutions that are already managing users' funds, the asset managers that users trust them to manage their funds. They're going to enter into crypto, and especially in the United States. That is going to be a big part, and Puffer is making moves on that sector as well. And us being present in that ultimately is going to benefit every community member of Puffer, every community member that even holds Puffit or Puffer token itself. It unlocks, like, basically more capital, unlocks more opportunity for our users as well. These are some of the exciting factors. But in one of my tweets, I mentioned by the end of the year, perhaps the entire experience of developing and using chains might be rewritten. Given that if the base rollups that we're working out, and they will be delivered, they are going to redefine how users are going to use blockchain. By like the end of 2026, perhaps we're going to forget about having to jump around to go to the next farming opportunity. Rather, we'll just use the app. We're like, this is a new application, and we're going to take advantage of it in terms of getting the incentives. And I think like this whole economic model is going to be rewritten sooner or later.
Love it so much, and I couldn't run the closure of the show without giving you a proper shout out, Amir, as well, to your accounts. I kindly encourage everybody to go ahead and hit Amir on chain and give him a follow. There are so many incredibly good tweets and posts that he actually just comes up with quite a visionary landscape, if you will, right? Because what Amir you've just explained so well, and what you've put together for our viewers and listeners is an actual is an actual visionary, right? So was speaking with you and hosting the CMA session, I feel like I'm watching a Picasso paint, basically, right? In real time, I'm watching like Nikola Tesla build his own genius inventions, in real time. So that's pretty good, and I kindly encourage again everybody to hit the follow button on Amir's um, profile, and at the same time, finally, I want to encourage everybody to go ahead at Puffer_finance, right? That should be the direction as well, to hit the follow button and mark the notification bells exactly this way. And with 345,000 followers, that's quite a number, by the way. Congratulations. You're going to be able to watch them revolutionize ETH infrastructure, right? With LRTs, with the base rollups, with Unify pre-confirmations, which is exactly what has been today's topic. So make sure to stay up to date with our incredible partners at Buffer. And is there anything else before we wrap the show? Is there any golden thought, golden takeaway from you, Amir, yourself, for our viewers that you want to leave us with for today?
Of course. Like I always say this. Probably I myself have been through quite a few market cycles. We are in yet another market cycle. I would say take care of yourself in this. Stay frosty, but yet there is always opportunity, and there is always development that we're going to be working on. So stay safe out there.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And I also subscribe myself to Amir's words for today. And I've been joined by Amir himself, the legend himself, with a very good image. And by the way, I almost forgot to ask, where did this beautiful, nice, crisp logo come from?
We do have a designer for this. Well, the name Puffer is very much thanks to our CMO, Christina. You might have seen her around, but the logo as well and the idea also came from one of our designers.
Love it so much. Everybody, make sure you stay on top of the news for Puffer. Thank you so much for coming over to the show. That's me done for today's session. Everybody, spread love.